Hey Renee, are you there? I just wanted to let you know that as of next week, my mom is going to come here and start to live with us. So I want you to clean up a spare room and get it ready to live in because that is where mom is going to be staying.
Wait, what? Your mom is going to be coming here to live with us starting next week, and you want me to get a room ready for her before then? I really don't think that's going to work, Tim. I mean, we've already talked about your mom coming to live with us, and I thought we agreed that it just wasn't a good idea. Besides, the both of us work full-time. I thought we agreed we wouldn't have time to take care of one of our parents if they did want to come and live with us.
Excuse me? Just who do you think you are? Don't you realize that I'm the husband and you're the wife? Are you really trying to disobey me right now? Just who in the world do you think you are?
Tim, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to disobey or argue with you. I just thought that this was something that you and I had already talked about.
If you're not immediately agreeing to what I tell you to do, then that's basically the same as disobeying me. You really need to learn your place and listen to your husband. If you ever try and pull something like that again, don't think for a second that I won't divorce you.
Tim, you can't be serious. Don't you think that's just a bit too far for this?
Did you really already forget, Renee? I can't believe you don't remember that I already have everything in place to make that happen right away. Basically, if I wanted to, I could make it so that the two of us are divorced right away. And then I won't need to worry about taking care of such a useless woman like yourself. You should be grateful that I even told you that my mom was coming and didn't just let her show up unannounced. Now you're going to do as I say and go and prepare a room for my mom. And I don't want to hear another word or complaint from you about it. Hey Renee, what the heck is the matter with you? I thought I told you that I wanted that spare room cleaned up. Why is it still a complete mess, huh?
Tim, I don't know what more you think I can do with that room. I mean, we had been using it as storage for so long. I don't think that I'm going to be able to move all of the things that we were keeping there all by myself.
Well, you better, or else there are going to be some serious consequences. Besides, don't you want to be a good host for your mother-in-law? Don't you know that she raised me all by herself into the man that I am today? So I'm not going to sit here and stand by while you make my mom live in a hovel like this.
Tim, you know that I really admire your mom for how much she was able to accomplish all by herself. But it's just that there's too much stuff in that room.
I have just had it with you. You really are a completely useless woman and wife. Do you know that? My mom was also thinking about what was best for me, and she always gave her all when it came to raising me. She knew how to take care of a house much better than you did, and she had kids to worry about it.
You're right, Tim. I'm sorry. I guess I've just been making excuses without even realizing it.
Well, I have been realizing it the whole time. But don't you realize that if my mom doesn't come here to live with us, then she'll be all alone? That's why we have to make sure that everything is perfect for her when she gets here. I know how lonely she's been feeling, and I don't want to make her think that we don't want her here.
Well, I don't want her to feel like that either, but this room is just too much for me to do all by myself.
So now you're telling me that you don't want my mom to come up here and live with us after all? I guess I should just tell my mom that she can't come after all because you hate her. Just kidding. If you ever actually try to push back against this, you know that I would just divorce you anyways. But if I can be honest, I think you're the one that deserves to be alone, not mom.
But, Tim, you know that I own this house, don't you?
What in the world are you talking about? What does that even have to do with anything?
Well, I just mean that the lease that is letting us live here in the house is under my name. You know that, right?
Is that supposed to be some kind of joke or something? What's the matter with you?
What do you mean, what's the matter with me? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
I mean that I know for a fact that you're lying to me right now, aren't you?
Wait, you think that I'm lying about the house? Of course I'm not lying about the house. Why would I even do that?
You really have hit a new low if you think you're just going to get away with flat out lying to your own husband like that. I mean, do you think I'm an idiot or something? Do you really think I was just going to fall for that? This is basically the same as you disobeying me. You realize that? The only thing that you should be doing is being a meek and submissive wife who stands next to me and looks pretty. That's all I ever wanted out of a wife. But instead, I had to be cursed with a no good, useless woman like you. You're always so worried about yourself and complaining about your own problems. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but the world doesn't revolve around you. You really need to wake up and realize that other people matter too.
Hello, Brenda. Do you have a moment to talk? I promise that I won't take long. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I haven't been a better daughter-in-law, and I'm sorry that I haven't been following through on my duties. I know that you aren't going to like to hear what I have to say next, but I think that from a financial standpoint and from just a making it work standpoint, you aren't going to be able to move in with Tim and I. So I'm really sorry to ask, but if you could please just talk to Tim about this and convince him that it isn't going to work, that would mean so much to me.
Renee, what is all this? What are you talking about all of a sudden? You don't really think that you're a bad daughter-in-law, do you? Did my son go running his mouth at you again? I swear that boy has no manners.
Well, actually, Tim told me that if I didn't let you live with us, that he would leave me.
He said what? Has that boy lost his mind? What is the matter with him? Honestly, just where does he get off? I am so sorry that my idiot son has been putting you through so much.
It's fine. After all, if he says it, then he must mean it. But I know that it's all true anyways. I know that I'm a weak link who could never survive on her own. The only thing I'm good at is letting people down and getting in their way. I don't even know why Tim is still with me, to be honest. After all, I'm just so useless. I can't do anything right at all, and I just don't deserve a man like him.
Renee, you stop that right now. I want you to know that you have done nothing wrong at all, and you shouldn't be talking about yourself like that.
Brenda? You aren't mad at me? You aren't agreeing with everything Tim has said about me.
What are you talking about? Of course I don't agree with a word that Tim has said about you. It sounds to me like he's the one making ridiculous demands of you. But that shouldn't be what a marriage is about. A marriage should be an equal partnership between the married couple. If one person is putting the other down or not treating them with respect, well, I just see why you're so upset and unhappy with yourself. But I want you to know that if Tim is saying all of this to you, that it isn't something you've done as a wife. It's something I failed to do as a mother.
No, Brenda, this isn't your fault at all. Please don't think that. I'm sure that you were a great mother who did all that she could.
Renee, you really are such a sweet girl. Do you know that? Especially for how patient you've been in putting up with Tim.
What do you mean by that? Do you really think that way about me?
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just not as good with my words after having lived alone for so long. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I don't think you're bad. And I certainly don't want you to think that you're the bad person in this in any way, okay?
Brenda, thank you so much for telling me that. You have no idea how much I needed to hear that.
But of course. I only say it because it's true after all. But now I feel like I just have to do something to help you.
Help me? What do you think you could do?
Well, I think now that I understand a bit more about the kinds of things that you've been going through at home, I want you to know that you always have someone to talk. Even if you feel like you can't talk to Tim about these things, you don't have to hold all that in sadness. But more than that, if my son is treating you this way and you really don't even think you can talk to him about it, then I'm just not sure that a boy like Tim deserves a girl like you.
Brenda, but then that means... Are you really saying what I think you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. But I want you to know that no matter what happens, I'm going to have your side. You can count on me. So I want you to think about the best way forward for you, and just know that if there is any way I can help you, I will be more than happy to do whatever you need me to.
You really mean that? You don't mind if I do what I think I need to do?
Of course not. And if you ever need someone to talk to about what's on your mind or what you're thinking about, you can always come to me.
Thank you. I just hope that I'm strong enough to do what needs to be done.
Hey, Renee. Are you seriously ignoring me right now? What is your deal? Don't you know that you should be getting back to your husband as soon as you've gotten messages from him? You better get back to me right now, or else I really will divorce you. This is not a joke. I'm very serious about this. I can't believe that you're making me wait this long just to talk to you. Don't you realize that this counts as disobeying me? Do you really want me to divorce you?
Tim, please. Can you just stop this? I am your wife. I'm not your maid, I'm your partner. I really don't think that this is how a marriage should work at all. I mean, we're married. That means that we're family now.
What? Have you hit your head or something? Being a husband and wife only means anything if we're both doing our proper jobs. And you have been a complete failure of a wife. You don't listen to anything that I say at all, and you made me wait this long just to get a response from you. I know that you're probably always lying to me and finding ways to get out of your responsibilities to me and the house. So why don't you clean up your act before demanding things of me, huh?
Tim, please. You don't have to be like this. We don't have to be like this.
Maybe if you made more money than me, we might be able to have a conversation, but you don't. And if you have some complaint you want to give me, then you can just save it. I'd rather just divorce you and get this all over with. But I know that you're too weak and helpless to ever let me really get to that point, aren't you?
Okay, Tim, if that's really what you want. If you want me to make changes around here, then let's get a divorce.
Wait, what? Are you serious? You really want to get a divorce?
I can't even talk to you. You never even let me get a word in edgewise. What's the point of staying in this marriage if this is the way that I'm going to be treated? If we can't even have a conversation with each other?
Well, of course I'm going to treat you this way when all you do is whine about how sad and pathetic you are. You really think I want to have a conversation with someone like you? And just what you think you're going to do with your life after you leave me, huh? You think you can live without me? You'll be crying and begging for help in no time.
I really think that the only one of us who will be doing something like that will be you.
Yeah, we'll just see about that, won't we? Hey, Renee, just where the heck do you think you're wandering off to? Why haven't you come back home yet? Don't you know you need to be here cooking dinner for me? I haven't eaten anything all day. And none of the laundry is done either. Plus, the house is a total mess. It's like you haven't been doing anything around the house at all.
It's because I'm not. And it's because I'm not going to be cleaning up after you ever again. I am not your slave!
And just where's this attitude coming from all of a sudden, huh? You really must want me to divorce you if that's the way you're going to be talking to me. Don't you remember that I have those signed divorce papers ready to be sent out whenever I want? You better watch how you talk to me. Because the moment I send those out, you'll be on the street with nowhere to live. But don't worry. Luckily for you, I'm a nice guy. So if you come home now and beg for my forgiveness on your hands and knees, I'll think about letting you off the hook this time.
It's too late. I've already sent out those divorce papers that you had.
Wait, what? What do you mean? You aren't really serious, aren't you?
Of course I am. And then I put today's date by both our signatures and had them filed.
But why did you even have those in the first place? I kept them locked away in my safe in the office.
Oh, I know where you were hiding them from me, Tim. But you made the combination to that safe your mom's birthday. After all, we all know just how much you love your mom. But that was your downfall, and that's how I got into the safe.
So you broke into the safe and then took out those papers and sent them off to be filed? Have you lost your mind? Why in the world would you do something like that?
Well, I'll let you know that I didn't do it alone. I had help. In fact, they agreed to help me specifically because it's you that I was dealing with.
Well, whatever. I don't care how you did it. But I'll just invite my mom to come and live with me and make her do all the cleaning around here. That way, I can put time into thinking about how I can get back at you for this. I won't let you get away that easily. You'll regret this, Renee.
The only one who is going to be doing any regretting is you, Tim.
You evil, awful woman. What have you done? What's the meaning of this?
What are you talking about, Tim? I'm sure that I have no idea in the slightest.
Don't you play dumb with me. I want to know what this letter in the mail is all about. It's from some guy who said that he's your lawyer and that you're suing me? What are you doing that for? I didn't even do anything wrong. And why in the world do you have a lawyer?
Actually, it was your mom who introduced me to that lawyer. Wouldn't you know it, but your mom has some experience with divorce as well. So, she connected to the same lawyer that she went through. Now you are going to pay me what you owe me, and then you are going to leave my house.
Don't you dare go trying to pin all this on my mom. How dare you even joke about that? But I'm afraid that the one who will be forced to move out is you.
No, you're the one who's going to have to move out, Tim. I'm sure of that. After all, the house is under my name.
There you go again with your crazy story of yours.
It isn't a crazy story. I was the one who bought the house when we moved here. You told me that you couldn't be bothered with the paperwork and told me to do it all. So while I was filling out all the paperwork, I signed the house under my name. Actually, that one was also your mom's idea.
What were you thinking? You should have told me about that part. Of course I would have signed any name. And just why are you talking about my mom anyways?
Well, because your mom had gone through this before. And she was the one who put up most of the money for the house. So, when she told me what to do, I listened. It was only later that she told me it's a kind of insurance in case we got divorced. She explained how it would protect me from getting kicked out of the house. But if you really think I'm making this all up, then you go check the file cabinet in your office.
I don't care what you say. I know that this house is mine and nothing is going to change that. I don't know what my mom has been telling you, but clearly you've been taking her advice the completely wrong way.
I really don't think that's what's going on here at all, Tim.
Yes, it is, and I know it. My mom would never betray me. I know that she'll always have my back. Mom, are you there? We have to talk right now. This is really serious. Renee is saying some seriously crazy things, and I just don't know what to think anymore. But all I know is that that woman is nuts, and we have to get rid of her. She's saying all kinds of things about how you're helping her try to divorce me, but that's not true, right? You're always on my side, aren't you? I mean, I'm your son. There's no way that you would take her side over your own son, right?
You may be my son, but that does not mean that you aren't also one of the most ridiculous people I've ever known.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that I heard all about what's been going on from Renee. About how you've been ordering her around like some kind of maid. But you forgot that she was the one who owns the house. You pushed your wife to the point of leaving you, and now you've got nothing.
No, you don't get it. Renee was also happy to help. That's why I would give her things to do. She wanted to do what I say.
Oh, give me a break. Do you really think that? You need to wake up. You're in denial right now, Tim. You have been nothing but a horrible bully to your wife who had been nothing but kind and patient with you. I don't know what happened to make you be like this, but I can't help feel at fault, and you make me ashamed.
Mom, what are you talking about? I was just trying to be a good husband. And a good husband tells his wife what to do, right? Besides, it wasn't like she even did a good job with the cooking and cleaning.
Do you really think that it's only the women who should have to cook and clean their own house? I'm your mother, and even that's too old-fashioned for me. You know, you're just like your father. He did the exact same thing.
Wait, Dad also never did anything around the house?
That's right. And I didn't want to speak badly about either of you, so I've kept silent for this long. But you're both horrible, overbearing bullies. You both have got no respect for your wives, and you're completely pig-headed.
So then, you're telling me that you're really going to pick this other woman over your own son? We're blood relatives, Mom.
Are you sure about that, Tim? Are you really sure about that?
What is that supposed to mean? What do you mean I'm sure about that? Of course I'm sure about that.
Think of all the things that you've done for me, and think of the nothing that you've given back to Renee for all that she does for you. On Mother's Day, you bring me flowers. For my birthday, you've gotten me vouchers for a spa. But you know what's something that none of your gifts have come with? A phone call. Even a letter. They were only ever just things.
Mom, please. You have to know how busy I am all the time here.
It's not just that. When I would invite you two out to eat with me, you would always turn me down, and it would just be Renee and I. I would tell her that I'm sorry she ended up going out with just her mother-in-law, but we really got close over that time. In the end, I probably came to care for her more than you did.
And so what? Is that the reason why you're going to choose Renee over me, your own son? I still think that's just ridiculous.
If you still really think that, then I wonder if you've been reading a single word of these messages. But if there's one thing you're good at, it's not listening. When you came to me asking if I'd like to live with the two of you, I turned you down and said that I didn't want to be a burden. But then you turned around and put all the housework on Renee. When I saw and heard about the way that you were treating her, I remember a chill running up my spine. It was all because of how much you reminded me of your father. And do you remember how him and I ended up?
But Renee and I talked about it. I was able to convince her to let you come and live with us.
Tim, I already told you that I didn't want to. Besides, I talked to Renee about this too, and she told me about how you completely ignored her opinion on the matter. I am just so disappointed in you, Tim. And that's why you leave me with no choice. I just have to cut you out of my life. I can't be around you anymore. You are no longer my son. Instead, I'm going to take care of Renee and make sure that she doesn't have to go through what I did.
Hold on a second, Mom. This is nuts. I mean, you're really going to abandon your son for his wife? How can you do this to me?
I'm not abandoning you because I was never on your side to begin with, Tim.
What do you mean? Why would you say something like that?
Because it's true. I was always only ever concerned about how you'd end up treating Renee. And when she told me all about what you were doing, I knew I had to introduce her to my lawyer.
But Mom, you can't leave me like this. It isn't fair. Please? But Mom, you can't leave me like this. It isn't fair. Please.
Maybe it's time you learn how to take care of yourself for once.
But how am I going to be able to do that when Renee is suing me? I don't even have enough money to hire a lawyer as things are now.
Well, that sounds like a you problem, Tim. But Renee has done more than her fair share of taking care of you, and you have taken advantage of her for the last time.
After that, the divorce was settled and the alimony payments were made. Tim was left without a penny to his name by the time the whole thing was over. After that, he had to pack things and move to a cramped little apartment that he was able to afford. I heard that he got so frustrated with his new living situation and the piling garbage and chores in his room that he began to take out his anger on his colleagues. All that got him in the end was being fired, though. After that happened, I heard that Tim moved again, and I've never heard another word about him since. After divorcing Tim, I was able to focus more on myself and realize just how used to taking his orders I had become. But I guess it isn't until after you've gotten yourself out of a hole that you can really see just how deep it was. Thankfully, I had Brenda by my side to help guide me into the divorced life. It was thanks to her that I never gave up hope about my life after the divorce. In fact, after Tim was out of my life, it was like a great weight had been taken off my shoulders. But I don't think it was only from finally leaving Tim. I think it was also because while I may have lost my husband, I gained a mother in Brenda. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have someone like Brenda by my side supporting me. In fact, it was only after the divorce was over that Brenda told me all about how she was trying to watch over me. I don't know what I would have done without her there for me.